Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here. So I wanted to talk about this idea. I actually saw this in an article from comicbook.com. So I'll leave a link down below if you want to check it out, because they actually go into some pretty crazy detail. It's a pretty lengthy article. So if you want to get into the whole theory here and understand it more in depth, like they do a really good job at explaining all of it. I just want to give my thoughts on some certain aspects to it. And so obviously before we go any further, this will contain spoilers for The Walking Dead World Beyond episodes 1. And for episodes 2, though I will say, if you haven't watched episode 2 yet, there's not a lot that happens in the episode. Like, they set up some stuff in terms of what's going on in the CRM and all that, but there's no big spoilery moments. So, like, I think to know spoilers for the episode is not the end of the world. But yeah, I still have to give the warning here that this will contain spoilers for episode 2. So the big question that we have here is, did Michonne come by this new location called the Perimeter? Now, the Perimeter obviously is a new group here, a new community that we just met. It's a very nice community, to be honest. We learned in episode 2 that the CRM, they leave them alone for the most part. You know, I guess they do talk about that in episode 1 as well. The CRM have like this agreement with the group, right? And as long as they can clear out these walkers, I can't remember exactly what the task is that they have to do, but as long as they clear out walkers in this area, or it's something like that, the CRM will leave them alone. And the CRM, for the most part, they've been true to their word. And I think where the theory gets interesting is when you bring the whole Michonne aspect into it, right? Did Michonne come across this group here? Because if you remember in her final episode, there's this shot here of this group. They're walking in like this organized fashion, right? And it's like a mass horde of people. There's a ton of people here. This group also wears a lot of animal skins. That's an important part they actually mentioned in the article, that part's really interesting. Because if you think about it, at the Perimeter, they have a lot of animal skin there. It seems like they wear a lot of it. We haven't seen them, I guess, wearing a lot of it, but you see a lot of animal skin just in the backgrounds and stuff like that. So is it possible that, something happens to the Perimeter, like to the community, where they're forced to travel elsewhere, and so that's where Michonne runs into the group here? Because the timelines about match, I would say they're pretty close. And the theory that's suggested here in the article, which I do like, is that a column, which if you don't know, World Beyond has introduced this new term. It's called like a huge horde of walkers, and I mean a massive horde of walkers is called a column. So a column would run through a certain community or a certain location, and that's a part of why they had to get rid of Omaha. And so if that happens to the Perimeter, like they could be setting that up right now. And it would explain why we have this mass amount of people traveling to another location, because that just happened. And that could happen by the end of season 2. We could see the CRM completely destroy the Perimeter because of this column going through, or there's some other stuff going through. And so we have this massive horde of people that decide to leave that location because of what was happening. And that's why we see this here. It lines up with the 2 people that Michonne saw. Obviously, they are wearing that animal skin as well. And not only that, there's also an interesting part here where the Perimeter, the community, was actually formerly an artist colony, which could explain the art done on that phone there. Angela Kang has talked about that art done on the phone, and I think Gimple has talked about it. And the general idea right now is that Rick didn't carve that on the phone. Someone else carved it on the phone and gave it to Rick, but Rick lost it, right? Or maybe Rick never got it, but I'm sure Rick's gonna get it. I think someone obviously just gave it to him, and then something happened where Rick lost it. I mean, Michonne found his boots and all that. It obviously confirmed that Rick was alive here, and it is very much possible that, a resident of the artist, or the former artist colony who is now part of the Perimeter, knows Rick, or there's some connection here. I could totally see that, because you got to remember too, like World Beyond, it's going to set up the Rick movie in many, many ways. There's going to be a lot of things that they've teased with characters like Michonne and that group that she came across. Some stuff with Jada's, a lot of stuff that has just been teased with the CRM. A lot of things linked to Rick's final episode and that helicopter ride. They're going to start to get into all of that. If you've watched episodes 1 and 2, they're not really fooling around with this anymore. They're really getting into some of the heavy backstory here with the CRM, right? Like, we know that they're trying to find a cure, but not only that, they want to try and eliminate walkers, and they want to find or see if there's a way that they can actually figure out why the walkers are still able to walk around and not have any nutrients in them, really, right? Still able to survive. And if they can figure out what that is, maybe they can enhance it. And then this way they can just make walkers completely decompose at a very faster rate, and then just completely wipe out that whole thing, right? And I could totally see that being a form of a cure, right? Like maybe they can't cure what is actually turning you, but when you do die, they can give you something so that you're not actually going to turn, or if you do, you're going to decay very fast where you don't really have a chance to turn, right? So they can't cure like you turning to a walker, but if you take this thing, then like it will decay your body very fast, and so walkers are gonna, they won't be able to really exist anymore, right? And so I could totally see that being the case, because that kind of lines up with some stuff in the comic anyways. I could totally see that being an explanation for why they don't really see walkers anymore and why they can easily deal with it, right? I'm just really excited to see what they're going to do next year, because there's going to be some setup here, obviously, for the Rick movie. They have to deliver on that. And if you've watched the first 2 episodes, like, they're definitely starting to get into it a lot more. A lot of what they've actually revealed about the community, I thought we would get in 4 and 5. I just thought it was going to be slower like last season, but we already got this stuff. So I'm excited to see where they're going to go next and how much they're going to give us. Because in order for World Beyond to be, or for its existence to be justified, they got to give us some really good stuff, right? They got to actually explain some really cool aspects of the Rick movie. Because I think if the show ends and there's nothing there, people are going to look at World Beyond like, what was the point in that show? Like, there was literally no point in the show existing, because sure, we followed this other group of characters, but it was teased as like this Rick Grimes movie setup, right? Spinoff sort of thing. And they never are delivered on that. And I would say as of now, it definitely has not delivered on that. And I think where they are going, though, teases that maybe they are going to, right, with stuff with Jadis. And if the perimeter is linked to the group that Michonne ends up coming across, that's a big set or Easter egg right there. That's a big storyline that has now been fleshed out a lot more, right? We know exactly the people Michonne's going to be with. We kind of know where they're going. That makes everything much more exciting, and I think it could actually, like, that obviously teases Michonne's involvement in the Rick movies, which, like, Gimple and them have confirmed, like, Rick and Michonne are going to be in the movies. Well, obviously Rick is, but Michonne's going to be. I still don't think she'll be in the first one, probably the second, but this obviously could set up Michonne's story just as much as it could set up a lot of the stuff in the Rick movie. And so overall, I'm excited for this. I really can't wait to watch episode 3 of World Beyond. I can't wait to get more info on just everything. I want to see Jadis. I'm really looking forward to the Jadis episode. And if I'm being honest, the episode that she appears in is probably my most hyped episode of the year of anything Walking Dead related. Like, I was really excited for the final season, but or part 1. But I knew they weren't going to be able to get into some stuff right away, right? That like a lot of the Commonwealth stuff, I knew we would have to wait until this, because they always hold back on stuff like that. So I was just like, oh, well, we'll see. Fear the Walking Dead was also really exciting when it was airing, but I didn't have that excitement there like I do for Jadis and the Rick movies, because it's Rick, right? And before that, we had the bonus episodes. And so this Jadis episode, the stuff we're going to learn here is going to be really insane. And I really can't wait. I want there to be a Rick mention. I want Jadis, honestly, to say the word Rick Grimes, or say the name Rick Grimes. Why can't you say that name? I honestly, how writers usually write is they'll just have the character be like, no, like I had a friend, or I was with somebody, and then the audience is like, oh, I know who that person is, right? And I think that's just so cheesy and dumb. Just say Rick, like, oh, I had a friend named Rick, and he, you know what I mean? Just say it like that. Then it's so genuine, because that's how I would talk. I think that's how most people would talk. Or maybe if you're telling a very general story about something, if it wasn't so epic, like I might say, oh, like I had a buddy before who, I might say it like that. But if it's this whole crazy, and what's the reason for Jadis even opening up about something like that happened 6 years ago, right? Like there's got to be a reason as to why she's opening up about this. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about all of that. I really wonder who she's talking to. Is she talking to Elizabeth Kublik? There's probably no point in that unless, I don't know. That's the thing. Is Jadis a double agent here, right? Like there's a lot of questions I have. And so that's what I mean. I'm so excited for this episode. But yeah, definitely post your thoughts down below on the perimeter / Michonne theory and all that. Again, I'll leave a link down below to comicbook.com's article. I thought it was really well put together. Honestly, really great. I'm excited for this now. I think it'd be really cool if it happened. But yeah, definitely post your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.